Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Age of Mythology Retold replay review. My name is ChillButton38. I will be your commentator today. Spawning in on the south side of the map, playing Zeus in the red, we have Koovoon. Meanwhile, on the north side of the map, playing Loki in the blue, we have, once again, me, ChillButton38. I know I promised that I would be uploading some gameplay from other Low-ELO players, and I do still intend to do that, but I've got a few of my games pre-recorded that I'm going to kind of trickle out over the next few weeks. However, if you would like to see your replay reviewed on the channel, go ahead and leave me a comment on the video with your gamer tag, your opponent's gamer tag, and the gods that were played. I will grab the replay from AOM Stats, and I will do an analysis. What I think went wrong and what went right. Okay, let's get into the build orders. So, Koovoon starts out, all four of his villagers go on to the deer pack. He's going to drop a granary. Next villager is going to rally to gold. Second villager builds a storehouse. Third villager out of the TC goes to wood. And then we're rallying right back to food. I'm doing a very standard Norse opening. Two vills to the hunt with the ox cart. Third vill builds the ox cart over here, goes to gold. Fourth vill out of the TC goes to wood. I queue up a dwarf, and then rally onto food, just kind of interspersing dwarves as I have the gold, prioritizing getting to that 150 so I can draw my temple. Let's check the scouting patterns here. So Koovoon has got kind of this scouting snake going on. He is aware of where my base is. He sees... I assume he can see that that's my town center, right? No, that's not my town center. Okay. Well, he knows where my next town center is. Doesn't look like he's gathered too many herdables. He's got two of my pigs from my side of the map. And he's got some pretty decent knowledge of where the watering holes are that separate the two players. Meanwhile, I have just done a little circle around my base. Obviously, my Berserk in Retold has to build a house before he can go scouting, which is going to slow down his pace a little bit. A decent little scouting circle here, I think. I would have liked to have prioritized the middle more. It's where most of the valuable resources are. It's good to have knowledge of where all of those are on the map. And also, it's usually it's where the herdables are concentrated. So, decent scouting, but could have been better. Let's look in on the age ups. Looks like I am first to age up here, or first to click up with Forseti. It's coming in already, and he has just queued up Athena. So, expecting to see some Minotaurs out here, especially on Zeus with that extra favor generation. Which means I need to get the Herser coming out. My first one is queued up to this relic, Demeter's Throne. Drop sites, ox carts, built faster and cost less. Okay, so I want that relic. I think it's the only one that I have visibility on right now. Yeah. So I queue up my Herser to come out and get it. That's fine. There's not really much else that this lone Herser is going to be doing. But this is not ideal. So if I'm gathering these relics early game because this Herser can't be productive otherwise. He can pick up relics, but one Herser is not going to be enough to get any damage on his economy that's really substantial. But if I send him out to collect the relics and never pull him back, all of a sudden, this Herser that could be going on a raid with this troll is just kind of standing here in the middle of the map holding the relic. And that's really not ideal. So, I might be prioritizing these relics over getting substantial damage in a little bit. Especially whenever I don't actually bring them back. There we go.
Yo.
Finally. So Koovoon at this point, still no... we got a military academy coming down. Jason's come out. He's picked up the Ankh of Ra, which is frankly the relic that I'd rather have over that dumb ox carts buff. It's going to provide a favor trickle, which, as the Norse, generating favor is probably one of the hardest things to consistently do. So every little bit helps. It would have been nice to have that favor trickle. And it would be nice if this guy would drop off his relic. Still, it's the same relic, in case you're wondering. My Berserk comes in and I get a good spy off. Unfortunately, I'm going to be losing out the Berserk for it. I always try to get the spy on the gold. Just, gold's the most important resource in Age of Mythology because every unit is going to cost some amount of gold, pretty much. So I always try to put it on the gold mine, but honestly, I should maybe consider putting it on the food sources because the food sources are going to run out quicker than the gold mines, and you're going to have to move these villagers around the map more. It's going to give me more vision, and potentially, if they get moved over to this hunt, it's going to give me a good raiding location to get some eco damage in. So, but at this point, I'm just going to try to get some eco damage in on the main base. My Harristers and Troll are moving out. These units, it's only got 15% Pierce armor. The Troll's a little bit better, but he's got his own vulnerabilities. So I really can't afford to fight under this town center. And there's not really any resources, maybe these, that I could have easily hit that are outside the reach of that town center. I know nothing about these berries over here. If I would have had knowledge of that, that would have been a better target than this granary. Because this granary is effectively not doing anything. There's nothing gathering around it. It's not researching anything. It's just wasting time that allowed him, Koovoon, to get out some hoplites, which are going to effectively shut this raid down. The Harristers are just not going to quite cut it against the hoplites. The hoplites have more hack armor, so they take less of the Harristers' attack, whereas the Harristers take more of the hoplites' attack, and it's I'm going to need something else. Which is why I'm dropping down these longhouses to get out some throwing axemen to effectively counter them. Starting to make a farm transition here. I have exhausted my early hunt. I'm about to exhaust my berries. And Koovoon has not had to do that yet. Farming transitions are tricky because it can be really nice to have multiple food sources. So, like, if your villagers over here gathering from these deer and they run out of deer, if those are the only food gatherers you have, you are generating zero food. And if it stays that way for very long, you're going to be in trouble. But with farms, they will always just be here slowly, surely generating food. It's not as fast as any other resource, but it can get you by in times where you don't have any hunt, or you're transitioning from one pack of animals to another. So I make a bit of a farm transition here. In terms of military, Koovoon definitely has the advantage, both in terms of value and in terms of quantity. I'm just kind of rallying troops into my base here. My aggression is completely stalled. He's pulled ahead in eco just decidedly, and I'm very much on the back foot at this point, even though no damage has been done to me. In terms of my economy, I've not been able to slow him down as much as I had hoped for the investment in military that I've already made. So I know at this point that I have to get some damage in somewhere, take a good fight to even out the military count, or get some good villager picks to even out the eco count, allow me to build up a little more. I'm going to go in for a little bit of a raid. I have no idea that his whole army's here. I just see Jason coming in with a relic, and I think, oh, hey. Well. I guess I don't think anything. Fortunately, my troops are going to pick him up, which will alert me. Oh, hey, I can get this damage in here. Try and get the relic down before it makes it to the temple. Not going to be having a ton of luck.
Yo.
But unfortunately, I am going to be getting caught out of position with this entirely infantry composition. The restoration comes down, which I should have expected, and really just turns us into an even worse situation than it already was. Although I do have, at this point, a military count advantage, most of this military count is going to be back here building houses for me, not on the front lines, which is not where you want it to be. I have to retreat all the way across the map. At least that's what I think. Because I know that his army can just absolutely destroy mine right now. With the knowledge of full vision of the map, I understand that I probably didn't need to go all the way back to my base, and it might have even been more beneficial for me to just retreat halfway, maybe fall back somewhere in here, drop down a couple barracks, or some great halls to try and get some more units out closer to the front line. That's exactly what he's doing. Just going to drop down a couple military academies and archery ranges, one of each, to continue pulling ahead in this military count. In terms of upgrades, I have got my armory in. I have got the basic upgrades, the first line of attack and defense upgrades. Koovoon, meanwhile, has just got the line upgrades. Which it doesn't appear that I've got, but I definitely have. It's interesting. Well, in any case, the military count has evened up somewhat. I've got a bunch of throwing axemen out to deal with those hoplites that I know are coming. Troll's going to be helping with that too. The berserks are going to be helping with that as well. But the problem here are these 4 Minotaur. And this is the next big mistake that I made in this game. I knew that he was popping out Minotaur at an elevated rate, because I saw 1, and then I saw 2, and then I saw 3, and now there's 4, and that is the same as the number of Herser that I had to deal with them. Now, 4 Herser can pretty quickly take down 1 Minotaur. The problem is that while they do that, these Toxotes and Hoplites are going to kill all of the Herser. And then there will be 3 Minotaurs left, and no Herser, which will leave all the rest of these units that are meant to counter the Hoplites completely vulnerable, because the Minotaurs will be doing much more than the Hoplites in this fight. That's inevitable now that this fortress is plopped down here. Units auto-attack the villagers. Going to prevent that fortress going up for now, but now I'm in the middle of this fight, and it's really not one that I want to take. As you can see, the Minotaurs are coming out. I try to use my flaming weapons to kind of get some damage down onto them. And so, right now, I need to be retreating. This is not a fight I want to take anymore. I know that the battle boar's up here doing some work, but I don't have any heroes. And he has 3 myth units and archers, which are going to counter literally everything that I've built. So, this is not a fight I want to take. Every moment that I linger here longer just puts me into a deeper hole. I know this Draugr comes in with the Loki myth units, but it really is too little too late. The value that I just got from that compared to the, 7 to 10 throwing axemen that I just lost, that Draugr is not worth staying in that fight. I should have retreated significantly before that point. I did manage to prevent the fortress that was being built here for a moment. Unfortunately, it was just a moment. Both of these fortresses are going to end up going up. I'm dropping some great halls to get some raiding cavalry out to counter these Toxotes, which I now perceive to be the problem. However, with the benefit of hindsight and, you know, an unobscured view of the map, what I really probably should have been building out of these Great Halls is going to be the Goatee. These are a new unit in Age of Mythology Retold. The Norse didn't have access to this in Legacy. They're a ranged hero. And the general consensus in the community is they're kind of meh as a unit. But in this particular situation, where your opponent has a bunch of myth units and also a bunch of units that counter your frontline heroes, the Toxotes and the Hoplites, the Goatee is really a good option, because what that's going to do is it'll allow me to get kind of a meat shield out of these berserks and even the Hersers. And the Goatee can pick off the Hydra and the Minotaur from the back line without really taking too much damage themselves. The Toxotes can obviously still reach them, but what's the range armor on these guys? 39? That's not bad. Yeah. It definitely would have been better to get some Goatee out instead of these raiding cavalry. I know I need to deal with the Toxotes, but I need to deal with these myth units more. For sure. So, bit of a composition error there. Economically, at this point, Koovoon is doing a really good job managing his economy. He's floating gold, but if there's a resource in Age of Mythology Retold that you don't mind floating, it's gold, because there's a limited supply on the map. Then you have to resort to trade, and trade is just not very practical in a lot of games. So, me on the other hand, on this side of the map, I am floating wood. Now, this is a result of me just rallying my TC onto wood, generally, so that I don't have villagers standing idle around a packed hunt or around a gold mine that's not there anymore. Rallying onto wood is generally pretty safe to know that there's going to be a forest there for a substantial part of the game. But as the Norse, if there's one resource that I really don't want to float, it's probably wood. Most of my units, the Herser, the Berserks, the Herdsmen, and both my cavalry, they're all going to be food and gold units. The only units that actually require wood for me are the Throwing Axemen and the Goatee. And I'm not even building any Goatee. So this pile of wood here, I should have taken about half of these villagers and thrown them onto food about 5 minutes ago. Because I'm really struggling for food. I'm really struggling for gold. Wood is just the least important resource, and it's what I have the most of. So, a bit of a macro error. Koovoon is really doing a good job of spending his resources and not stockpiling too much. He's kind of getting high on the wood now too, but that's fine. And although the military count is equalized at this point, this really is Koovoon's game to lose. He could send this military mass around this side to take out these production buildings, take out this gold mine. That would force a fight that I, with this composition, 2 Hersers against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 myth units, yeah, I would lose that fight. So he could do that. He could also send his troops up the right side, take out this gold mine, which would force me to engage in a fight, because I want that gold mine. The same result. I would lose all my troops. He would have the gold mine. I wouldn't be able to keep up production, and the game would effectively be over then. But it's really easy to say that when I can see the whole map. Oh, never mind. We're getting into a bit of a fight here. So the hill fort manages to come up, and this is probably the best fight that I could have hoped. The Toxotes are still getting their damage in, but it looks like they're mostly targeting down either the hill fort itself or the cavalry on the front line, which is exactly what I want the Toxotes to be targeting. All of the myth units managed to go down, except this Hydra here, which is probably not long for this world. I get in the backline on these Petropoli, the Toxicities, and I really managed to pretty effectively clean up this position. Yeah, he's got to fall back. Age Up comes in for him, which is pretty scary for me.
Yo.
I know that I'm on a big timer now. And the funny thing is, that was a good fight for me. I took the military advantage, both in terms of value and number. He had to fall back off his position. But the problem is, I haven't actually gained anything for taking that advantage. I am just now getting to 2 TCs. He's been on 2 TCs this whole game. He has 32 more villagers than I do. For me to actually get back into this game at this point, I have to, 1, take a good fight, which is going to be hard with the current comp. And 2, I've got to get some economic damage done. As long as he's this far ahead, it doesn't matter how many good fights I take. He's always going to be able to repopulate his military faster than I'm going to be able to repopulate my military. And I am eventually going to lose the game. These walls here, I don't know that I needed them. He's got a pretty slow comp here. I probably didn't have any reason to fear raids. I had no inclination that he was going cavalry. Probably just wasted gold. He starts sieging down this hill fort, which, you know, at this point is the safe play. Just slowly work me down and keep me pinned up in my base until I run out of gold. Able to get in there and do some damage on the Petropoli, but then that just gives him an opportunity to cast his Lightning Storm. The only way to really counter this is to put your units in a building, which I'm going to do for some of them, but not enough. And the game is well and truly over at this point. Although, again, I don't know that yet. It's hard to tell in the moment whenever a game is truly beyond bringing back. So, you know, if there's any doubt, there's no reason not to keep fighting. So that age up comes through for me, and I think, okay, Nidhogg. He's got this awesome Fire Blast ability. It's going to deal damage over time in the area of the fire. This can be a way to really effectively clean up an army, but honestly, going up to Mythic Age at that point, I think, was a mistake. What I should have done, obviously, was, you know, have more production buildings. Have more production buildings that I can pump units out of. And, you know, have more units coming out onto the map. The Nidhogg was, you know, just countered really hard by the Toxicities and the Odysseus that's out here, and it was really just a waste of the resources to age up, and guaranteed the loss. So, looking at these graphs here, these dips, you know, we talked about them in the last video. They're indications of, you know, how good a fight was. And here, we had a fight. We both lost some military. This was a good fight for him because I lost more than he did. And, you know, going into our next fight, he's going to have an advantage because of it. His military value is just higher because he started higher. And then this next fight we have right before he aged up, that was a good fight for me. But the problem was this civilian count. Whenever he takes good fights against me, he's able to immediately capitalize on that by replenishing his army and continuing to push because of all these villagers. Whereas when I took this good fight against him, there's just, you know, this is my build up afterwards. It's just so much slower than his. You know, within moments of actually winning that fight, I was already behind again in military. So the game probably effectively was over somewhere right about here at the 14-minute mark. Whenever I failed to get that initial aggression out. So takeaways from this game: flexibility. I need to switch into those counter units quicker and not, stick with the I'm just going to build throwing axeman plan. Um, I need to push sooner, not gather these relics necessarily. Like I said, I would trade that Demeter's relic for one or two villager kills in the early game any day. So why grab the relic when you could be killing villagers? Um, Finally, whenever if and when your aggression does get shut down, I don't think it's necessary as the Norse to fall all the way back to your base. Um, I think, it could be worth it to try and fortify a little forward position. If you've already got some units out and you're trying to get aggressive, just build some buildings closer and stick with that aggression, because once you get pushed back into your base, you have burned resources on aggression that your opponent didn't have to, and given them map control that they can now take advantage of. And it's just going to be really hard to get back into the game from that point. So, if you see me on the ladder playing Loki, don't expect it'll go as easy as it did for Koovoon here. I've learned some lessons from this game, and I hope you did too. Anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button to be notified the next time I upload. As always, if you've got a game you'd like to see reviewed, tell me about it in the comments, and I'll look it up on AOM Stats, grab the recording there. Until next time, guys, good luck, have fun, and I will see you in the next game.